I don't know if we can see it. Got a few people turning us. Hey, Vin. Sorry about what happened there. I'm not too sure what happened. I still don't understand this technology very well. But anyway, let's see how we go. We'll get a few people. Today, we're going to have another fun session. We'll have a bit of a warm-up, stretch. What's Robert? Good to see you, buddy. We'll do the countdown. Got my deck of cards here. Today, we're adding the 5 of spades and the 10 of diamonds. So that's 5 sit-ups and 10 diamonds. I'll just put them in the deck somewhere now. Like that. And hopefully that little mistake I made with starting 2 different streams, I don't know how I did it. I just thought I was doing the right thing. But that'll teach me, and I'll try not to do it again. Hope everyone's going all right. So we'll get started in a sec. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about stances. And I actually had my own ideas about stances. There's a few major stances we work on. There's 16 stances in Kyokushin, and many of them really are nothing more than formal stances like Musubidachi, Yoi, and so on. They're not fighting stances, but of all the other ones even, most of them are transitory stances. So what I did is I took a few notes. I went back and I read up on what Sosai was teaching, and it's always good when you have an idea in your head and it's confirmed by Sosai. Sometimes you have an idea in your head and there's no confirmation whatsoever. Us, Clarence, good to see you, buddy. But anyway, we'll talk about the stances after we have a warm-up, and we'll hit the cards. Jamie, good to see you, buddy. I hope Maddie's there too. Let me know. Good to see you both online. And Tiger Kun, I don't know if you're going to be there. Raj, Us, Raj all the way from Nepal. So South Africa, Nepal, Tambourine Mountain, India, we've got them all. Okay, we're doing the deck of cards after we warm up. We're getting in there. Like we don't have too many days to go. Friday today, Saturday, Sunday's a rest day. Then we've got about another, I don't know, 7 or 8 days, and they've got the full pack. Troy, how are you, buddy? Good to see you. Now, someone asked yesterday about the other day about the Uchi Uke. I'll just run over that first. They left a message and asked, was there a double hip motion? You know what? I would say under pressure against a non-compliant opponent whose objective is to hurt you, whatever your hips do, your hips will do. But for the sake of the technique, the question was, when I rotate my hip here for the Uchi Uke, does it stay there? When I rotate my hip, is there another hip motion? 2 schools of thought, both are acceptable. Okay, in Kyokushin, we tend to lead the hip forward, and that serves a slightly different purpose. If you could imagine my arm coming up like a tensho movement from the side, there's your Uchi Uke, and my body stays at an angle. See that? And I bring it up there, and this is ready, and that's very valid as well. Well, then what you get is you get the hip motion this way and the hip motion back. That double hip motion. But in Kyokushin, we tend to go forward, and I think I would tend to go forward under pressure. From my experience, under pressure against non-compliant opponents, you get that movement in, and then you need to move in behind it. Okay, so Vince, good to see you. I think was it your question about the double hip movement in the Uchi Uke? But anyway, I was just going over that before we got started. Harry, good to see you. And Rochelle, always nice to have you back. It's good to see everyone's still healthy, obeying all the social distancing rules. Someone said something funny. They said, I just wish this social distancing thing was over so they could go back to social distancing under their own. But anyway, look, stay healthy, stay careful, follow the rules, and we'll get going. We'll start with the warm-up, then the deck of cards. It's going to be a goodie. No cheating, no sitting back on the sofa and watching. You've got to join in. Okay, we'll get going, yeah? Is that good? Might just see if I can lower it a little bit. There. Okay, that's good. Beautiful. Hitch. Hey, son, she, go. Atta, ji, son, she, go.
My knees are shot at the moment. I don't know what's happened. I think it's just time. Okay, squatting deep. Try to relax your lower back. And coming up, let the back flock. So from the side, I'm just going to squat down. And then I'm going to come up and just flop. If your hands want to get to there, that's fine. Let gravity do the work. But I'm just going to flop down. No pressure to try and get the hands on the ground. Just going to flop down. Okay, give me 1 sec. What I'm actually going to do, because I want to do a yoga stretch, I'm going to take my gi top off and put a t-shirt on. And that way the gi doesn't get in the way of what I'm doing. I'm sure most of you got gis or t-shirts on, but that's fine. Okay, so I'm just going to go through a yoga stretch. It's probably what's called a vinyasa, where it's just an initial flow, and it's part of what is known as the sun salutation, or greet the sun, Surya Namaskar. It's a really great way to start off. Do a few of these. Get the breathing right. Whenever you open, you breathe in. Whenever you close, you breathe out. Okay, so I'll call it as we go for the first one. Okay, feet together. Relaxing, spine erect, and breathing in. Stretch all the way up and out. Use that warrior breath. Hands down to breathing in. Hold. Breathe out. Breathe in. And out. Okay, in this position, you want to lengthen the distance from your hand to your hips. So I'm going all the way back. Let the head relax. Just breathe normally using that warrior breath, like a soft Sanchin, a soft ibuki with your mouth closed. Lengthen and lengthen. Roll the elbows in. Breathing in. Coming up. Breathing out. Breathing in. Reach up and breathing out. Let's do that again. In. Out. In. Hold. Out. In. Out. Breathe in. Out. In. Breathe in. Out. Okay, it's a good little stretch. I'm clearly not a yoga teacher, but you don't have to be able to do that stretch. You just take it to your own limit and just relax. And the more times you do it,
the better you'll start to feel. Daniel, good to see you. I was wondering where you were. There was two Daniels there. Fantastic. Okay, we're going to go straight into the deck of cards now. I think it was the 10 of diamonds and the 5 of spades we added today. No cheating. You can't just watch. That's not fair. You've got to join in. You know, let's go. First card, 2 of hearts. Next card, 3 of clubs. No rush. Get through it. Next card, Jack of spades. It's 11 push-ups. Next card, 5 clubs. 5 squats. Next card, 6 of hearts. 6 burpees. One of the toughies. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 2 diamonds. Whoa, straight away. 7 hearts. Now, when you get up, it's good to practice to get up without using your hands. So what you do is you use a pendulum swing and you push your hips forward and you can get straight up without using your hands. 7 hearts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Those hearts take it out of you. Ace, spades, 10 push-ups. Gee, I'm feeling it today. I had a workout this morning. But anyway, 10 diamonds, 10 sit-ups. I'd probably say I feel it every day, which I do. It's just going to get harder, I think. 9, 10. As the deck gets fuller. If you're a little older and you can't keep up, don't worry, just take your time. Even now, I'll take a breath as I'm talking. There's no race. Queen, diamonds. So I'll just stay here. It's another 12 sit-ups. Oh, and next, 4 of hearts. Some toughies following toughies. All right, how's that angle? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 burpees. Whoa, straight away. 8 burpees. Let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's another good trick you can do too in the deck. When you're just getting going, keep adding the cards, but if you're a little tired
or a little older, when the hearts come up, when the burpees come up, substitute it for a stretch, or get your breath back, or a shadow spar, and then gradually start to include them again. That's a good way to do it. Whoa, straight away. 4, 8, 3 hearts. Got no one else to blame except myself for this terrible shuffle. But that's the whole idea of the shuffle. Keeps your body guessing. King, clubs, 13 squats. Beautiful. Joker. I'm going to enjoy that. For Joker, have a little bit of a rest. Remember, our theme for maybe a month is work on relaxation in the shoulders. Today we're working on stances. So I want you to think about your stance too. So I said there's 2 primary objectives for a good stance, and the most important one is balance. So let your stance always allow you to move with balance. Okie doke. Let's keep going. 4 spades. 4 push-ups. Next, 3 diamonds. Next, 4 of clubs. Once again, getting up with no hands. Okay, the way you do it, you swing back. You drop one leg under, like that, and then you project your hips forward and stand up from there. It's really good to know. 4 squats. Next, queen, spades, 12 push-ups. Next, 2 of clubs. Next, king, diamonds, 13 sit-ups. Next, king of spades, so 13 push-ups. So again, we practice that skill of getting up without putting our hands on the ground. We rock back, tuck one leg forward, and we use the momentum of our hips to get up. Rock back, one leg, and use the hips. 13 push-ups. Beautiful. Next, jack of clubs, 11 squats. So you can make that a goal of your workout, is not to let the hands touch the ground unless you're doing push-ups and burpees. I think that's 11. I'll do another one just in case. And 5 spades. Nice. Next one, jack, diamonds, 11 sit-ups. Keep up or don't keep up. It's up to you. Next one, 4 diamonds. 4 more sit-ups. Next one, Joker. I'll take that. Another shadow spar. Okay, so for your stance today, we're working on stances. So I want you to feel balanced as you move. Just move softly. Don't ever overextend so you lose your balance. Or don't throw too much weight so you lose your balance. There's a time and place for that. But when you're shadow sparring, it's not it. Sometimes the worst thing you can do is have a heavy bag. When you have a heavy bag, you can't help but try and hit it hard. And the same thing then transfers into your shadow sparring. When you shadow spar, it's like, that's completely not the point. I've got a floor-to-ceiling ball over there. And the best thing you can do with a floor-to-ceiling ball is just pity pat. Bah, bah, bah. Look for rhythm. Bah, 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 bah. Bah, 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 bah. And if your rhythm is out, it'll tell you. You can't lie to a floor-to-ceiling bag. On the floor-to-ceiling bag, you give it a good whack and move off. As it comes in, you move off to the side. Boom, boom, boom. One day I'll set up the camera and show you on the floor-to-ceiling bag there. Boom. Okay, that'll do for shadows. Next one. 2 spades. 2 push-ups. Beautiful. Next one. Queen clubs. That's 12 squats. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I take my hands all the way down, so I measure how far I go down. Touch them on the ground each time. Next card. Whoa. 5 of hearts. 5 burpees. 1, 2, 3, 4. Why the little hand lift? That way I make sure I don't cheat. 5. You can't lift your hands off the ground if you're halfway there. Yay. Ace clubs. 10 squats. 10. Next card. 3 spades. 3 push-ups. Next card. Lucky last. 10 diamonds. 10 sit-ups. And there you have it. That's today's deck. Get your breath back. Go and grab a drink if you want. I'll be with you in about 30 seconds. I'll just get this deck tidied. Remember again, every opportunity you can use to train, you use it. So here I am sitting down. I don't want to just get up. I want to get up in a way that is part of my training. So that means I get up without using my hands. So I pendulum back, tuck 1 foot, extend my hips. Pendulum back, tuck 1 foot, extend my hips. And a good drill you can use is this. We go like this, my left leg is up this time. Back. Now my right leg is forward, hips forward. Back. Left leg. Back. Right leg. Back. Left leg. So you can use that. Another way to do it is this. Back, right leg, step, back, left leg, step, back, right leg. That's another good way you can work these drills. If you need me to show you that again, I can, but it'll be right there on the playback anyway. So that's today's deck of cards. Sorted. Grab a drink. I'll grab something too. Okay, so I mentioned, but let me just have a quick look, see who we've got. G'day, everyone. Frederick,
Good to see you, buddy. Thanks for coming all the way from Scandinavia. Tiberiu, how are you? From from Hungary via Chicago. Tiberiu lives in Chicago right now. I don't know what time it is there. It must be pretty late. Vin. And yes, good footwork drills. And Tiger, good to see you, buddy. Tiger, burning bright in the darkness of the night. Good on you, buddy. Tiger's one of my students here at the mountain, and he's been doing the deck of cards every single day without fail. Good on you. Yeah, who shuffled that? That's exactly right, Chris. I asked the same question, but the problem is I got no one else to blame. Oh, well, good. Okay, listen. Yes, with the shadow work, the beauty of shadow sparring is you can get it right out of your head. You try and have to hit hard or try and do anything. All you're doing is looking for BRATS. Okay, remember BRATS, the acronym that I use. BRATS is balance, relaxation, timing, and speed. You put those 5 together and you have a punch. Okay, Wyatt Earp said speed's good, but accuracy's better. Okay, if you're really so fast, but you miss all the time, you can be a fraction slower, but accurate, it'll make all the difference. So balance, relaxation, accuracy, timing, speed. It's worth talking about timing there. There's in Musashi's Book of 5 Rings, I'm sure you've all read it, or if you haven't, one day you will, no doubt. And Musashi's book says there is timing in everything. Okay? It's 12:30 in the morning in Chicago, Tiberiu. Well, hang in there, buddy. We'll only be another half an hour or so, I think. Okay, so Musashi says there's timing in everything. Now, right now, would you believe it's going to take me a couple more years because I want to do a good job. I'm doing a new translation of Musashi's 5 Rings. And I'm trying to avoid current English translations, not because they're bad. Some of them are absolutely outstanding. And what I do, like when I used to translate Sosai's work, for example, the 11 mottos or the Dojo Kun, I would translate it in a way that I thought was accurate and convey the spirit of what was trying to be said. It's always the problem with the translator or the interpreter. You have to balance between the spirit of what is said and the actual words of what is said, okay? And if you can find that balance, you do a great job. And I'd translate a line and then I'd look at the current available English translations. And if I didn't like it, well then I'd use my own. If there were elements of it that I liked, I'd use that. You know, so my translation, for example, of the 11 mottos, which has become kind of like a universal standard. Well, there are certain things in that I used from previous translations, which I thought were really, really good. But other areas I thought it's challenging. I recently did another translation of a certain Okinawan master who had a series of mottos. And I'd read everywhere some translations. And in fact, one very highly accomplished gentleman,
just a tick.
His name, I won't mention his name because I haven't asked for his permission, but he actually paid a professional translator to do a translation. But the problem was the translator didn't understand karate. So sometimes you don't know when someone says you do a seiken. Well, if you're not used to karate, what you'll translate that into, well, you'll do a correct fist, or do a shuto, well, you'll do a hand knife. So that balance between good translation and understanding what has been spoken about is really important. Okay, and Glenn Pritchard, hi mate. I hope Nate and Shay are there, are they? I hope so. Good to see you on board. Thanks for coming. Okay, so the reason I wanted to talk about timing, in BRATS we have balance, relaxation, accuracy, timing, and speed. I used to say balance, rhythm, accuracy, timing, speed, but I realized that in the Musashi's book, the word that he uses for timing is actually in Japanese, funnily enough, the same word is for rhythm. And when you analyze it, it makes a lot of sense. And the reason I use timing in BRATS rather than rhythm is because timing is rhythm within yourself. So you get the timing between having all the body parts in the right place at the right time. That's one of the most effective phrases you can use when it comes to analyzing your technique. Make sure all the body parts are in the right place at the right time. And then you just transfer to make sure the body parts are in the right place again. And then the right place again and again. And make sure each time that the body parts are in the right place at the right time, and you won't go wrong. Well, timing is just that. Timing is that rhythm within yourself. Now, I have another acronym which I add on to BRATS. BRATS is developing technique within yourself. Balance, relaxation, accuracy, timing, and speed. Bald BRATS, and I'm not bald yet, but I'm going to have a haircut soon. But anyway, bald BRATS is timing in relation to a partner now. Okay? So that means your breathing. You time your breathing properly. Your angles, B-A-L-D, bald BRATS. Breathing, angles. Leverage, which is a form of timing. When I time my technique correctly, it becomes a form of leverage. I optimize everything by taking advantage of my opponent's movement. That's leverage. And distance. Always you're working your distance, your balance, your balance, what did I say? Your breathing, your angles, your leverage, and your distance. That's the bald BRATS. You put them together, bald BRATS, breathing, angles, leverage, distance, balance, relaxation, accuracy, timing, and speed. You've built up your own technique, and now you're putting it together with a one-on-one with a training partner or one-on-one with an opponent. Okay, now that really comes down to what I wanted to talk about today was the stances, because Sosai said that even though there's lots of stances, most of them are training stances. They're designed to strengthen your legs and hips, because the first thing that goes in a long, hard fight is your legs and hips. Anyone who's been in a tournament knows that. But Sosai said there are two major objectives for a stance. One is to allow you to maintain balance at all times. And Sosai said to me once, the most important thing you can do in a fight is keep your balance. And I'd only really experienced tournaments. And in tournaments, I'd lost my balance plenty of times, but it never really mattered because it was a soft surface and a referee to pull things up. But Sosai, I understand differently now. Sosai was seriously talking about if you lose your balance, you lose the fight. It's that simple. And if you ever grapple with anyone, you have an opportunity to close the gap. You move in from kick to punch to headbutt elbow to stand-up grapple. The whole objective as a stand-up grapple is to break your opponent's balance. Look at top-level judo guys. All they do is they are the masters of breaking your balance. And you think you're in control. The next thing you know, you're on their back. You go, what happened? That's simply control over balance. And on the ground too, even when you're wrestling on the ground, sometimes you can have someone in what you think is a completely controlled, vulnerable position, and the next thing you're going, whoa, 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 and they're slowly stealing your balance, and before you know it, you've lost your balance. So Sosai said stances are 100% about two things: maintaining your balance at all times under pressure, and two, allowing you optimal movement and transition, particularly from defense to attack. So if your stances are the sort of stances which are jilted so that when you defend, you start to go back and lose your balance a little bit, so that when you have to attack now, you've got to reclaim your balance. Sneaky little mozzie. Reclaim your balance before you can attack. Well, then obviously your footwork isn't allowing you to maintain optimal balance at all time. Okay? So stances mean control of balance and control of transition and movement particularly between defense and attack. So if you think about that all the time, when you think about your stances, they'll make a lot more sense. Now there are 16, if I remember right, 16 stances in Kyokushin, but we can basically work on 4 or 5, namely Kibadachi or Shikodachi, Zenkutsudachi, Kokutsudachi, Sanchin-dachi, and Shizentai or fighting stance. Those 5 pretty well take up more than 80% of everything you'll ever do in karate. Okay, and it's the 80-20 rule, the Pareto's law. Out of the 16 stances, you got 5 of them, so that's less than 30%. Take up 80% of everything you'll ever do. Pareto's law says that pretty well 20% of what you do will give you 80% of the benefit, or 20% of your investments will give you 80% of the return, or 20% of your time will give you 80% of the return. Okay, so
in stances as well. If you can just remember, you have to learn all the stances because it's part of a tradition, but the 5 stances you want to work on: Sanchin, Zenkutsu, Kokutsu, Kiba, and fighting stance. Okay, today we're going to look at fighting stance. Plus, I want to look at a simple concept of transition from Zenkutsu, Kokutsu, and Kibadachi. Okay, so let's get going. As you get older, Kibadachi is not possible if you've got somewhat bad knees. Okay, so I always turn my Kibadachi into Shikodachi these days. That way your knees are aligned. Okay, so let me see if I can get up without. I'll just check that. Okay, good. So, one of the most important things to remember, another thing Sosai said, is the correct stance is the most logical stance for what you need to do. Okay, so there is no stuck stance. You don't have to be in a particular stance. If you're in a Zenkutsu, for example, let me come back here a little bit. If you're in a Zenkutsu, but you need to root yourself to the ground and be strong or throw, well then it's not logical to stay here if I need to move my weight back. So what I might do is drop into Kiba. So I'm here, I've got control, I'm dropping into Kiba. Or, for example, I step through, if you can imagine my opponent there, I step my leg behind them and my arm in front of them, and then I drop into Kiba so they drop over my leg. So the most effective stance is the one that's most logical for that situation. There's only one way you'll ever work that out, and that is through your own training and experience. Okay, so what we do is we go Zenkutsu. Your weight is here, so it's roughly slightly to the front of your center. Okay, and then Kiba, that brings your center of gravity back a little bit, and then Kokutsu. Forgive me, my knee's really shot at the moment. Okay, so again, we can go forward now. We go Kokutsu, step into Kiba, and then push forward. If you're young and strong, you can do that in a fast flow motion. Zenkutsu, Kiba brings my weight back a little bit, and Kokutsu brings it back even further. Now, these are training stances. The objective of the training stances is to transfer. So we've done, of the 5 stances, we just did 3. Zenkutsu, Kokutsu, and Kiba. Sanchin is the next one, and as we were doing on Wednesday, you look at Sanchin from the side. I'll move back a little bit. Sanchin from the side. When I turn one foot and turn one arm, now I have a fundamental fighting stance. Okay, and a fighting stance should allow perfect balance, and it should allow perfect mobility. That means it's roughly the length of your walking gait. There's your fighting stance length. It's just the length of a normal walking gait, because that's the most natural length to you. Okay, if you fight like this, and it was best you'd walk like that, be a member of the silly party, I think. It's not natural, so you come forward. Now, what I want to work on today is a really powerful concept. I forget who it was. Please forgive me. I read the comment someone left, and it was a really good comment. I was talking the other day about where to place your weight in different techniques. Whenever you throw a punch with your left hand, your weight goes to your left. Whenever you throw a punch with your right hand, your weight goes to the right. And that's a simple, but very powerful concept. Weight left for left, weight right for right. The problem is most people will go weight left for left because the front leg is there. Even when they throw the right, they'll put the weight on the left leg. And you'll see this happen all the time. The guys will throw the punch and the foot will come up in the air like they're bowling a ball down the alley. Okay? You don't want to have that. What you want to do is that comment that one of the viewers left, please forgive me, but it was a really good, and I went looking for the book. He mentioned that in Jack Dempsey's book about professional fighting. He calls it, I think he called it the falling step. So it's like you want to fall down into the step to get your weight correct. Yeah, it says, yeah, you can all read what Vin's written there. You can work on that where you go into in Pinan number 2. you get that transition from stance to stance. It's very good. Okay, so in Jack Dempsey's book, he calls it the falling step. And what he means by that is you can be here and you optimize your weight by bringing your weight forward. And I used to do a movement, which I think I mentioned Wednesday, is under normal circumstances, you're moving and you're like this. But when I need to bridge the gap quickly and my opponent's movement starts to slow down, I'll take my knee, not over my ankle, but over my toes. So I'll be doing this sort of movement. Bang, bang. And then as I come forward, instead of bringing my foot back, I'll just leave it there and bring my knee forward. And now all I need to do to bridge that gap is lift my knee because my weight is committed forward. And you get that timing. And that automatically puts your weight in your left leg for your left hand. The only other time that I've used a right punch with my weight left is in a tournament once when the fighter, that was an international tournament, the fighter nailed me with a leg kick. But as he threw it, I blocked and brought my punch in at the same time. So I used that L part of ball, the leverage. I used his timing against him. So as the kick came in, I could get the punch and I got the knockdown. Okay, so the stances we want to look at, constantly maintaining balance. And when you're doing shadow sparring, you can spend days, weeks working on nothing more than your balance. Boom. Move around, work on the different footwork skills, half shuffles, splits, that sort of thing. Turn off the circle in the sabaki motion, half shuffle forward, half shuffle back, off to the side. Whatever you're doing, maintain your balance. Never overreach to the point where you're losing your balance. Sosai says that all stances need your body to be upright. All stances are upright because that maintains your balance, whether you've got to go forward or back. Okay, now I want to work on a little drill. Once again, I'm going to roll my pants up so you can see my ankles. No comments from the gallery about my ankles, Chris Dunn. Remember, whatever I've got, you're going to get too. Okay, so you can see my ankles now. Here's a little drill which was taught to me by Benny the Jet Urquidez, one of the greatest, not only fighters, but teachers. If you get an opportunity to train with Benny, he's coming out, hopefully by the end of this coronavirus. He's due to come out in the end of the year. Jump on board, try and get onto a seminar with him because he will teach you things that make you shake your head. So powerful in their principles, okay? So here's a simple principle that you can work. Remember the other day I said always have one heel off the ground. Okay, well that heel may not necessarily be your back. If I throw my left hand and I lift that heel off the ground, that will force my weight forward. See that? I throw my left and my left heel comes off the ground. Okay, when I throw my right, I sit down. Jack Dempsey says a falling step. I call it a sitting step. We always say you sit down in the step. Watch. When I throw that right, I sit down and see my heel comes off the ground now. And I have my toes, my ankle, my knee, my hip, my lat, my elbow, my hand, all in alignment. Don't over twist so your foot's facing over there. Don't under twist so it's there. Don't over twist so your knee's there. All those are little wasted energy motions. You want everything generating forward. You just practice that. And you can practice that on a surface too. It's like, doesn't matter what you use, just lean on the surface with your right hand and then put the weight on the right leg and then lift the front foot off the ground. And that will help you develop the feel of having the weight in the right leg for the right punch. There. Just lift it off. Now, if you find you're doing this, and then you've got to do a whole change in body weight and position to lift the front, that's a good pointer that something's fishy. Okay, what you should be able to do is, as you throw it, it takes virtually no effort to lift the front leg off the ground. That means your weight is correct. It means your weight is on the right leg for the right punch. For the left, there, I lift my heel off the ground. For the right, I lift the heel off the ground. So you can work that as a drill, and it's a very good drill. Left heel up, right heel up, left heel up, right heel up, left, right, move around, boom, left up, right up, left, right, left, right. I'm lifting my heel, 1, 2, 1, 2. At first it seems a little bit of wasted motion, but once you get a good feel for it, it will become profoundly effective in your fighting as you move, because it doesn't break any rule that you need to preserve in your flow when you're working mitts really fast. Even if the heel only comes off the thickness of a piece of paper, it doesn't matter. What's important is by bringing the heel off the ground, you leverage the weight in that leg. I lift this heel off the ground, I leverage the weight in that leg. Lift it there, lift it there. So for a 1, it's there. For a 2, it's there. For a 3, it's there. For a 4, it's there. For a 5, left heel up. 6, right heel up. 7, left heel up. 8, right heel up. 9 is a rip to the body. Look, lift that left heel. There, like that. A right, a 10, a body rip, a kagi ski. Again, you lift that heel off the ground. So let's play with that just for a couple of minutes in your own time. I'll stop talking. Well, I tell myself I'm stopping talking. Most of the time, I never stop talking. But I want you to spend experimenting in your own time with that idea of lifting the heels almost like a dance, where you're lifting the heel left, lifting the heel right. When you're punching left, your weight is left. When you're punching right, your weight is right. Remember that. You could write that down. Weight on left for left, weight on right for right. Doesn't matter what the technique is. Okay, so let's just move around now. And I want you to feel this idea of lifting the heels off the ground, even if you start like that. And then when the left heel comes up, throw the left punch. Throw the left punch. Right heel up, right punch. Okay? In your own time. Keep going. Okay, get a feel of that. How does that feel? I want you to be nice and light. Put a comment there if you like. But I want you to stay light in the shoulders and punches, but I want you to concentrate on the leg motion so that you do get that heel coming up off the ground. And you can even do that. Don't just lift the heel, but leave my weight on the right leg. The whole objective of lifting your heel is to put the weight on that ball of the foot. See that? There. When I lift the heel, my right leg, put the weight on that ball of the foot. Left, right, left, right. So now when you're sparring, even if you break it down, remember the best thing you ever do is lose lots of rounds of sparring, focusing on something you've got to get better at. Okay, so when you're sparring, you can even tell yourself, I'm just going to concentrate today on getting my weight correct. So when I throw, I'm going to spend a couple of rounds just throwing lefts. I'll throw everything else and block and move and kick. But when I'm throwing my lefts, I'm focusing primarily on getting the weight correct in my left punch. So I'm sparring, I'm doing things, boom, defending. Then when I throw the left punch, boom, I make sure the heel's off the ground. Boom, boom, boom. Boom, boom, boom. Make sure the heel comes off the ground every time. And then you can go from there to the right punch as well. And then you start to put the combos together. And you make sure the heels are coming up and down like this. And at first it'll feel awkward. If you've been doing it differently, of course, you'll feel awkward to start with. But that's if you're feeling awkward and you're working on your technique, that's a good thing. That means you're finding the change occurring in your body. Okay, we might wind it up there, but remember stances. The best stance is the most suitable one for the technique you're using. Your aim is to preserve two things in a stance: your balance and your ability to be mobile and be able to transition, particularly from defense
to attack. Richard, mahalo. Thanks for being here. Okay. Remember that even when you're doing makiwara, one of the best things you can do, I did a video, I don't know if you've seen, I did a video on hand conditioning. One of the best things you'll do is video yourself hitting a makiwara, because even when I watch those videos, I can start to see how it takes a little bit of time to transition where I've got my weight slightly wrong. It might feel good to start with, but when you're then doing the makiwara, then you start to change your technique to, instead of trying to hit the board or the tree or the pad really hard, you simply tell yourself, I'm coming from the core and working on getting the weight in the back leg. There, like that. And you'll find that'll change. Usually that'll change a lot the way you feel about your technique. Yeah, and like Troy said, one of the best things you can do, I'll do that again so you can see. One of the best ways to get a feel of good technique is you shape up, you throw the back hand into the wall, and then you lift the front leg. See that? Now, if I've got to go and really make a big change to get that front leg off, that means your weight is wrong. Okay, I should be able to hit, leave the weight where it is, and simply lift the front foot. Okay, it's easy with the front leg as well, because that's easy. Back leg, got to make sure the weight is in the back leg. Lifted. That's a really, really valuable little tool that we use at the dojo to help. Okay. Again, guys, thank you very much. We'll wrap it up there. If you've got time, do a little 5-minute meditation. Remember, simply relax, spine erect. Breathe in and out through the mouth gently. And as you breathe in, say to yourself, I am breathing in. You watch the breath at the nose come in. I am breathing in. When you breathe out, I am breathing out. And if you focus on your breath, it does one very powerful thing, and that brings your consciousness into the present moment. It's almost, I don't know, look, I'm not a meditation teacher, but I would almost say that unless you're focusing on your breath right here and now, your mind is 100% either in the past or in the future. It's very hard to focus on anything except the breath. People with very strong concentration, they transcend that. Okay. Thanks very much, everybody, for joining in. Appreciate it very much. I'll be back tomorrow with the deck of cards. What are the cards we're adding tomorrow? Where are they? Maybe I accidentally added them today. I'm not too sure. In fact, I think I probably did. I'll check that and I'll put it up. But tomorrow, back to the deck of cards, and I'll see you Saturday, and then Sunday's a rest day from the deck of cards. Get your rest. It's starting to, build up. Some of the big cards are coming now, especially when you get a few of those heart burpees stuck together. And Vin said, any words about Sensei Kishi? Yes, he was. He was a lovely guy. I think the sad thing about Sensei Kishi was he never quite got his head around living in New York. He was quite a traditional man and quite a very inwards turning man. He liked his meditation, and I think being thrust into the world of New York was quite overwhelming for him. But I went to America in 1980 for a yoga convention, would you believe? Initially, I was going to go and train in New York for 6 months. And Jack Sandlescu and Annie Gottlieb, shout out to Annie if you're there. Hi. It was Annie's birthday the other day. I met Annie when she and Jacques were in Japan for the 1976 All Japan, the 8th All Japan Championship. And we remained good friends after that. And I wanted to come to New York and train, and they recommended I go and train with Sensei Kishi. So I approached him. He was very, very kind. And I was going for 6 months, but I'll be perfectly honest with you, I'd fallen in love with the yoga so much. And I don't mean the hatha exercise yoga. I'd been in LA and I'd experienced some really nice meditation type yoga. And so I was so taken by it that instead of going to New York for 6 months, I'd been in LA, California for a month or two. and then I was going to go to New York. I went for 2 weeks, and then I turned around and went to LA, and I got absorbed into I was working in a yoga ashram. I wasn't a monk or anything. I thought about it, but I was able to go and work in this ashram, but absorb myself and surround myself with people who are doing a lot of meditation. So unfortunately, I didn't do as much karate as I wanted to then. I did do some interesting training in LA during those months, but I ended up going back to LA and I was there altogether for about 9 months, 9 or 10 months. But in New York with Sensei Kishi for 2 weeks, and I lived at his dojo for 2 weeks in the dormitory. There was another young gentleman there, Japanese guy, who was a green belt at the time. I was a brown belt, I think. This was 1980. But he was also a top judo player. And I remember my last session at the dojo, I was going back to Australia, so Kishi kind of sicked him onto me. And I had to really fight hard. And in the end, I prevailed. But every time I get close, he'd grab me and bang, I'd end up on my back. Bang, I'd end up on my back. And that was, interestingly, one of the first reasons why I took a great interest in grappling. I thought, well, this isn't good enough. I was smashing this guy in the stand-up, and every time the pressure would be on, he'd just grab me and throw me. So I started to do a little bit after that. But anyway, that's enough for the story today. Alan, Us, thank you very much. Rochelle, great to see you. And Raj, Clarence, all the way from South Africa. Vin from India. Raj from Nepal. Mike Clark, Us, domo arigatou gozaimasu. Mike, all the way. He's an overseas boy too. He's all the way from Tasmania. Unless you've moved. I don't know if you've moved. Have you, Mike? Raj, Harry. Thank you, everyone. I appreciate your time. Us. See you Monday.